we'll get started. So nice to see everyone. Thank you for continuing to be present. I know that the internet connections are not always ideal, and so thank you for navigating that and putting up with it. As I continue to pray that better internet comes this way. So, in preparation for our practice this evening, please take a good seat. And with your hands, turn your thighs in. And then, hi Sherry, place the fingertips down on the ground beside you. And as you push down lightly with your fingertips, lengthen the sides of the torso and move the top of the upper arm bones back. And curl the center of the heart up. Keeping that lift in the chest, lightly place the hands up or down on the legs. I get a newsletter regularly from a Buddhist teacher that I appreciate. His name is Ken MacLeod. And in his most recent newsletter, he offered a teaching from an ancient text in recognition of the times that we are in. And this teaching, which is at least 700 or 800 years old, is in part a recognition that there's always moments of difficulty, sometimes more collective, and we experience them on a grander scale and they involve more people, or they're more personal and individual, and either way that they are part of our life experience. And so the teaching says that when misfortune fills the world and its inhabitants, make adversity the path of awakening. I'll say it again. When misfortune fills the world and its inhabitants, make adversity the path of awakening. And part of what that means for me is that it's a reminder to move toward the experience. That part of the tendency is, for me at least, to move away from the difficulty and to gloss it over, to pretend it doesn't exist, to ignore it, and in many ways to then not take action that is appropriate and useful. And that this teaching is a reminder that we want to use the practice to move toward presence. In the yoga tradition, there's a recognition that the Hatha yoga practice, the practice of the physical poses, is a practice of difficulty. It's a practice of adversity. And probably at various moments we've experienced that. It's meant to challenge us. It's meant to build our capacity to be present in moments that test our limits, physically or mentally. And to also recognize that when we meet up against a limit, how we respond is key. And some of us respond by just kind of checking out and moving away, in which case we want to, perhaps move a little toward the limit. And others of us push through it without necessarily attention to the fact that we are at a limit. And so the physical practice is a very appropriate opportunity to examine how we meet adversity and to build the capacity to meet challenge with compassion in recognition of our limits with the presence to respond appropriately, so that the response is in recognition of and in service to the limit that we're meeting, and that the action is something that we can be in agreement with tomorrow when we wake up, so our body's not overly sore, and that it's something that we can return to time and time again. So with that in mind, close your eyes. With the eyes closed, become more present in the body. So drop your attention down and in, so that you become aware of your physicality, of your form, and of how your body is feeling tonight as you meet the practice. And that moment of checking in is really significant, as it recognizes that we don't always arrive in our mat in the same state. And sometimes it's more appropriate to ease off. And sometimes we have the energy and the enthusiasm to push into our edge respectfully. And so this moment, in many ways, is the quintessential moment of practice, where we tune into our feeling state and we set the intention to work with that, so that what we're experiencing is the way. We're not trying to make it different, but we're working with it. Notice the breath. And as you notice the breath, recognize that there is an aspect of the breath that we can control, and then there's an ultimate aspect of the breath that is out of our control. And that we want to work with the breath, allowing the breath to move as much as possible within the parameters that we have with which to control or shift the breath. And then with your next exhalation, join your hands together at your heart. Touch the thumbs against the center of the chest, and use the touch of the thumbs against the center of the chest to localize your attention in the center of the body, directly in from where you're touching with your thumbs. And just for a moment, feel that space inside the body, and feel the breath widen that space as you inhale, and soften the center of you as you exhale. Feeling the breath move in the center of the heart, we'll initiate the practice with a single Om. Take a full breath in. And bow your head to your heart. Release your hands, lift your head, and then come all the way up to stand. So we're going to do some arm work through the practice tonight, and we want the movement to come at the joint of the shoulder where the upper arm and the torso meet, and to work again within the capacity of the range of motion present in your shoulders. So place the feet comfortably apart, just so that you can really feel each foot solidly placed on the mat, and release your arms to your sides. From the shoulder joint, rotate the whole arms out. And then as you inhale, sweep the arms up alongside the ears in whatever arc is available to you. When you're at the maximum lift, turn the arms to the sides and then sweep the arms back down. At the sides, rotate the whole arms out and then lift them back up overhead. And then once they're overhead, rotate them out and sweep the arms down. A few more times like this. Rotate and link the movement to the breath. It's less important which half you inhale on and which half you exhale on, and more significant that there's movement that follows the breath, and that we feel into the body, the arms in particular moving through space on the way up and on the way down. For the last sweep or two, just gently see if you can stretch out a little bit more so that you take a slightly wider arc on the way up, but also on the way down. So the way down is as attentive as the way up. And then one more. And when your arms are back down at your sides, pause there. And then inhale, take the right arm up alongside the ear. With your left hand, grab the upper arm, turn it toward you. So you rotate the tricep toward the head, and then bend the elbow. Lift the upper arm slightly up. So you lift the elbow toward the ceiling. Turn the outside of the arm, the tricep, toward the side of the face, and press it back. And breathe. So use the felt sense of the body and the connection to the movement of the breath to feel into the way that you are inhabiting effort. If you're lightly pushing against limits, if you're moving away from them, or if you're pushing past them. And then stretch that arm straight, release the left hand, take the right arm down, and change sides. So other arm up, grab the left upper arm with the right hand, turn it toward you, bend the elbow. As you continue to rotate the upper arm toward you, lift the elbow up and press the upper arm back. So we're clearing space along the side ribs into the armpit and also lengthening the tricep. As you lift the elbow up and press it back, keep the weight solidly placed in the heels. Breathe. And then releasing the right arm, stretch the left arm straight and bring it down. Step to the short edge of the mat if you're not already there. Separate your feet several inches apart. Take the heels out a little bit more, and then standing forward back to Uttanasana. As you exhale, hinge forward from the tops of the legs. Bend the knees as necessary, fold over, and put the fingertips on the ground. Pause here. And as you pause and take
take the first breath or two in the new shape. Tune in. So feel into the experience and the way the body is responding to the pose. Perhaps soften the knees if the initial experience is one of tightness and reaction, so that we move with gentleness into the adversity that the pose creates, the challenge of the position. As you push the heels apart, perhaps stretch the legs a little straighter. And if your legs do not easily straighten yet, bend the knees then and fold over after you've pressed straight. And pulse like this, warming up the muscles on the backs of the legs and giving them a sense of ease, that they don't have to hold in that position of stretch. If your legs easily go straight, then hold them straight for a couple of breaths and hug the outer hips in until you feel the low belly lift off the tops of the legs. Then everybody bend the knees, place the hands beside the feet, and then step the right foot back, straight leg lunge. Bring your left knee directly over your left heel. Yeah, we're doing the unusual side. I don't know why that happened, but lift the top of the back thigh strongly up away from the ground. And shift your hips enough to the right that your left sitting bone lines up with your left heel. Descend the shoulder blades away from the ears. From here, we're going to step forward and change sides. So push off with the back foot, step up, exhale, and then step the other foot back. Breathe, and automatically feel into the body's response to the shape. And then as you set up the shape, bring the right heel more over the right knee, more over the right heel. Shift your hips a little bit to the left. Line your right sitting bone up with your right heel. And make your back leg strong and straight. Sink the hips down toward the ground without dropping your back knee. One more breath. And then from here, we'll step back into plank pose. If you're not doing weight bearing on the hands, you could come forward into the standing forward bend again. Otherwise, feet back a few inches apart. Bring the shoulders forward over the wrists. Bend the elbows a little bit. Descend the shoulder blades away from the ears. And now keeping the hips up high, rotate the buttocks toward the heels and pull the low belly slightly back toward the spine. One more breath. Exhale, drop the knees to the ground. So if you're in the standing forward bend, come onto your hands and knees now. And then if you need a blanket for your knees, grab the blanket and place it across the mat for support. Step the right foot up, low lunge. Bring the right knee directly over the right heel. And just like in the straight leg version, shift your hips a bit to the left so your right sitting bone lines up with your right heel. Then squeeze the legs strongly together and bring your hands up to your front knee. Shift your hips forward and down. Peel the low belly slightly back. Draw the shoulder blades down away from the ears. And breathe. One more breath here. And then touch the fingertips to the ground and change sides in whatever way makes sense for you. So you can stay on your hands and knees. You could do downward facing dog or plank again. And make your way onto the left side. So left foot forward, right knee on the ground. Make sure your front knee is over your front heel. Shift your hips a little bit to the right. Line your left sitting bone up with your left heel. And then bring your hands to your front knee. Press very firmly into your front heel. And turn the outside of the right hip more forward. Shift the hips down. Lift the center of the heart up. And lean slightly back away from your front knee. One more breath. And then touch the fingertips to the ground. Lift the back knee up, step forward, standing forward bend. Separate the feet. Bend the knees a little bit, put the hands on the hips, lift the chin. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release your arms to your sides. Interlace your hands behind your back. If that's not appropriate for your shoulders, you could just put your hands on your hips with your thumbs facing toward the spine, and then do the other instructions. So if you're interlacing your hands behind your back, rest your thumbs for a moment on the back of the pelvis. Squeeze the shoulder blades an inch or two toward the spine so that the top of the upper arm bones moves back toward the wall behind you, and the elbows point straight back. Then press the shoulder blades deeply into the upper back and lift the center of the chest up. So if your hands are interlaced, you could stay here, or you could take your hands just off your body and reach the hands back toward the wall behind you, keeping the elbows bent and the tops of the upper arm bones moving back. Inhale. Exhale, release the fingers and stretch the arms to the side for a moment. Change the interlacing of the fingers and reposition the hands behind you, or if you did the hands on the hips the first time, do that again. Then, with the elbows bent, point the elbows straight back behind you so you're not squeezing them too close toward the spine, toward each other. Move the top of the upper arm bones back. Bring the shoulder blades slightly toward the spine and then push them strongly forward. Take your head back. If it's appropriate for your neck, lift your chin, look up. Maybe move your hands away from your body if your fingers are interlaced. One more breath. And then head back to center, release the arms to the sides. Inhale. And as you exhale, standing forward bend, Uttanasana. Hinge over from the tops of the legs. Bend the knees, touch the fingertips to the ground. Push the heels apart. Stretch the legs straighter. Maybe bend the knees and fold a little more deeply. And pulse back and forth like this. Or, if the legs are comfortable in a straighter position, hold there. Squeeze the outer hips in until you feel the low belly lift back off the tops of the thighs and extend the crown of the head toward the ground. Straight leg lunge, but we're going to step the left foot back this time. So bend the knees, place the fingertips beside the feet, step the left foot back. Bring your front knee to point over your middle toes. Line your front sitting bone with your front heel and make your back leg strong and straight. Descend the shoulder blades. Curl the center of the heart forward and up. And now keeping your back thigh lifted, sink your hips toward the ground for the last breath. And then push off with the back foot, step forward, and change sides. So right foot back. Left sitting bone lined up with the left heel, left knee pointing forward. Make your back leg strong and straight. Keeping the top of your back thigh lifted, shift the pelvis down toward the ground. And as you do that, even push a little more deeply into your front heel. So either standing forward bend, cat-cow on your hands and knees, or plank pose. So if you're doing plank, place the hands flat, step the left foot back, separate your feet just a few inches apart, 2 maybe, and then with the shoulders over the wrists, slightly bend the elbows, draw the shoulder blades away from the ears, pick up the hips, tilt the pelvis so that the buttocks turn toward the heels, and lift the low belly away from the ground. Breathe. knees to the floor. Right knee forward, low lunge. Right foot forward, low lunge. And then bring your hands up to your front knee. Here, just lightly press your left knee back. Push your right knee forward. It can even extend past the heel a bit. That's fine. Sink the hips forward. And take your arms at your sides. Either put your hands on your hips, thumbs facing in toward the spine, or interlace the hands behind you. Press the top of the upper arm bones back. Squeeze the shoulders a tiny bit down. And then with the elbows pointing straight back behind you, press the shoulder blades forward, lift the center of the heart up. If it works for your neck, lift your chin. Stay here, or take the hands just off the body and curl the center of the heart up more. Lift the head, look up. And then releasing the hands, touch the ground, change sides. So right knee back, left foot forward. So left knee over left heel. Shift your hips a bit to the right. Bring your hands up to your front knee. Breathe. As you press the right knee slightly back, stretch the left knee forward. Shift your hips forward. Peel the low belly back. And then either hands to your hips again, thumbs in, or change the interlacing as you clasp your hands behind you. Just like we did standing, move the top of the shoulders back. Shift your hips forward, curl the center of the heart up. Maybe lift the chin, maybe look up. If your hands are interlaced, you can take the hands just off the body and reach your knuckles back toward your right heel and down toward the ground as you curl the heart and the head up. And then release, touch the ground. Lift your back knee up, step forward, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, place the hands on the hips, lift the chin. Inhale, come up. Exhale, arms to your sides. Stretch the arms out to the sides. And then give yourself a big hug with the right elbow under the left. Descend the shoulder blades and walk your hands around toward your shoulder blades as much as possible. So perhaps stay here. Perhaps release the hands and bring the backs of the hands together. Or maybe put your right hand, bring it toward the face and put it in front of your left. Wherever you are, keep the shoulder blades descending and press your elbows away from you. Move the head back. Turn the head to the right, to center, to the left, to center. One more time on each side. And then back to center. Release the arms, stretch the arms to the sides, and then give yourself a big hug, left elbow under right. Descend the shoulder blades. Move the head back. Either stay here, or if you did on the first side, release and take whatever hand position worked for your body on the first side. As you move the head back, lift the center of the heart up and stretch your elbows away from you. Now, again, turn your head all the way to the right, to center, all the way to the left, to center, right, center, left, center, and then release the arms. One last time with that series of lunges, plank, and lunge. So standing forward bend, bend the knees, fold over, touch the fingertips to the ground. Either pulse the legs a few times, or as you push the heels apart, stretch the legs straight and hold that. Hug the outer hips in and peel the low belly back off the tops of the legs. Extend the crown of the head toward the ground. Bend the knees, place the fingertips beside the heels, and step the left foot back, straight leg lunge. Front knee over front heel. Lift. Now, squeezing the legs toward each other and keeping your right sitting bone in line with your right heel. Lift the hands just up off the floor. Either stay here or stretch the arms forward alongside the ears. Breathe. Feel the strength, especially in your right buttocks, holding you. Touch the fingertips to the ground. Change sides. Step the back foot forward and then the right foot back. Breathe. So pay attention, not just the body in the pose, but your response to it. So as you line your right sitting bone up with your right heel, left sitting bone with your left heel, stretch the right leg straight. If it's more appropriate for you, working with how you're meeting your practice tonight, to keep your fingertips on the ground, of course do that. Otherwise, hands up, keeping the left sitting bone lined up with the left heel. Maybe stretch the arms forward. Keeping the back leg strong, place the hands down, and then maybe the standing forward bend again, maybe hands and knees, cat-cow the spine, or plank pose. So in plank, slightly bend the elbows, keep the shoulder blades away from the ears. It has the same kind of feeling as that last arm position we did when we were standing. Eagle arms. Keeping the hips up as high as the back of the heart. Rotate the buttocks toward the heels. Lift up the low belly. Breathe. Two more breaths. Notice not just the effort, notice the way you meet the effort. Can you be more present to the body sensations and to the breath, even in the face of some effort? And then bending the knees to the ground, step the right foot forward, low lunge. And with your front knee more or less over your front heel, bring your hands up to your front knee. Shift your hips a little bit to the left so that your right sitting bone stays in line with your right heel. Lean the shoulders back. And then we're going to do that arm position that we just did standing. So stretch the arms to the sides. And then give yourself a big hug, right elbow under left. Descend the shoulder blades. Either stay here, and you can do the whole thing staying here, or take the hand position, the arm position that you did when you were standing. Wherever you are, reach the elbows away from you. Shift your head back. Lift the chest, lift the elbows, lift the chin. Maybe look up. Lift the elbows. Unwrap, touch the ground. Change sides. Left foot forward, right knee on the ground. So with your left sitting bone lined up with your left heel, bring your hands to your front knee. Shift the hips forward and down. Lightly draw the low belly back so we retain some of the memory of plank pose. And then stretch the arms to the sides. Left elbow under right, big hug. Drop the shoulder blades. Maybe interlace the forearms, bringing the backs of the hands or the left fingers against the right palm together. Shift the head back. Reach the elbows forward. Lift the elbows, lift the heart, lift the chin. Maybe look up. Inhale, unwrap. touch the ground, lift your back knee, step your back foot forward. Fold over the legs for a breath. Put your hands on your hips, bend your knees a bit, lift your chin. Come back up. So if you have a blanket that you were using for your knees, you can now move it to the side. And we'll do some standing poses facing the long end. So now inhale, step the feet really wide apart. Turn the left foot slightly in, rotate the right leg and foot out. Extended side angle, Parshvottanasana. Parshvottanasana, sorry. Inhale, stretch the arms to the sides. Exhale, deeply bend your front knee, aiming your front knee straight over your middle toes. Now drop your right forearm down on your right thigh and bring your left hand to your hip. Push the outside edge of your left foot firmly into the ground. And point your front knee over your middle toes and line your right sitting bone to your right heel. So it's the same as in the lunges that we were doing. Now descend your right shoulder blade away from your right ear and twist the center of the heart strongly to the left. Move the head back. And then stretch the left arm straight up. Push into both heels. Inhale, come up. Exhale, turn the feet, lower the arms. And then the second side. So turn the whole right leg slightly in. Spin the left leg and foot out. Take your arms to the sides. Push into your back heel and deeply bend your front knee. Angle it straight over your middle toes. And then drop your left forearm to your thigh, right hand to your hip. Push into the entire outside edge of the back foot and ground it down. Keeping the front knee over the middle toes, pointing toward the middle toes. Draw your left sitting bone in line with your left heel. Drop your left shoulder blade. Now very strongly twist the center of the heart to the right. Move your head back, turn your head a bit to the right. Stretch your right arm up. Breathe. Feel the work in the legs. Be present to it. And notice what's holding you. Where's the strength that you're relying on during the effort of the standing poses? And then pushing into your heels, inhale, come up, turn the feet, lower the arms, step the feet together. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Step the feet wide apart. Just like we did, turn the left foot in slightly, rotate the right leg and foot out. Micro bend your front knee, firm your front thigh, and hug your right sitting bone underneath you so it lines up with your right heel. Stretch the arms to the sides. Descend the shoulder blades. And then reach out to the right. And as you reach out, bring your torso back so that you're more in line with the back of your leg. And hold your shin or ankle. Just put your left hand on your hip for a moment. Push into your left heel and the outside edge of your left foot. Hug your right sitting bone underneath you so it lines up with your right heel. And lean your whole torso back. Descend the right shoulder blade. Now, twist very strongly the center of the heart to the left. Turn the head to the left. And then stretch the left arm straight up. Push into your heels. Using the strength of the legs, come back up. Release the arms, turn the feet. And then the second side, so spin the right foot slightly in. Rotate the left leg and foot out. Stretch the arms to the sides. Firm your left knee, slightly bend it, just a teeny wee bit, and bring your left sitting bone in line with your left heel. Then reach out And as you reach out, shift back. So you're more on the back of the left leg. Bring your hand to your shin or ankle. Put your right hand on your hip. Feel the body in the pose. And bring your attention toward the experience. So that we're using the effort in the practice as a way to meet ourselves and as a way to cultivate the effort needed to meet adversity in our lives off the mat. Press into the outside edge of the back foot. Keep your left sitting bone in line with your left heel. Descend the left shoulder blade and twist the heart to the right. Stretch the right arm up. Pushing into your heels, use your leg strength. Come up, turn the feet, lower the arms, step the feet together. We're gonna do Parshvakonasana, extended side angle, a second time. So that was the previous standing pose that we did. So step the feet really wide apart. Turn the left foot in, rotate the right leg and foot out. Inhale the arms to the sides. Exhale, deeply bend your front knee, aiming it straight over the middle toes. And then forearm to your thigh, other hand to your hip. So we'll set up just like we did. Push firmly into the outside of the back foot. Draw your right sitting bone in line with your right heel. Descend your right shoulder blade and twist the chest very strongly to the left. Take your head back. Lift your left arm straight up. Now without changing the twisting of the center of the heart, perhaps release your right hand and slide it down toward the ground inside your right foot. Keep the center of the heart twisting to the left. Take the head back and turn the head to the left. Good, push into your heels, inhale, come up. Release the arms, exhale. Turn the feet to center. Second side, turn the right leg in, rotate the left leg out. Take the arms to the sides, and deeply bend your front knee. Put your forearm on your thigh, other hand to your hip. And ground the outside edge of your back foot. Line your left sitting bone with your left heel. Send your left shoulder blade. Twist the center of the heart strongly to the right. Turn the head to the right. Take the right arm straight up. Now, perhaps as you slide the left hand down to the ground inside your left heel, keep the center of the heart turning the head back, the heart up, and really feel your experience in the pose. Feel into the challenge of the physical practice, the effort required of the standing poses, and watch how you meet that. Response to the effort. That's more important than the shape of the pose. It's more important than anything else, and it's that presence that makes adversity the path of awakening. Pushing into the feet, inhale, come up. Turn the feet. Lower the arms, step the feet together. Now you can put the blanket again across the mat at the place where you had it, because we'll come back into the low lunge in a moment. Face the short edge of the mat. Step the feet right together. Powerful pose, Utkatasana. Also called chair pose. So with the inner edges of the big toes touching, stretch the arms out to the sides. Rotate the whole arms so that the palms turn up. And as you do that, feel the lift from under the armpits up to the collarbones. Then stretch the arms up overhead. If that's not appropriate for your shoulders, you can keep the arms to the sides, or then after you've done that for a moment, put your hands on your hips. Wherever you are, shift the weight back into the heels. Lift the center of the heart up, move the head back, lift the chin a bit. And now, keeping that lift in the heart and the lift in the chin, bend the knees, sit down, sink into the heels, squeeze the legs together. Hollow the low belly lightly back without rounding the lower back. Lift the heart, lift the chin, stretch the arms. And then keeping the legs like this, just fold all the way over. Release the head for a moment. Stretch the legs a little straighter so they're together. They're probably, for most of us, not going to go all the right way straight. Insignificant. What's significant again is that you feel into the sensations of the body. You notice the movement of the breath. And you pay attention to the way that you're meeting yourself in the practice. Bending the knees enough, place the fingertips beside the feet. A little bit, it'll be a better step back, and then take the left foot back, low lunge. So left knee to the ground. Bring your hands to your front knee. Line your right sitting bone to your right heel. And now we're going to do a twisting lunge. So momentarily tip your right knee toward the big toe. Stretch the left arm straight up along the left ear. Now lean back a little bit and feel the whole length in the front of the torso. As you exhale, twist over and take your left elbow to the inside of the knee. Bring your hand to the outside of the knee. Bring your hands together. So, if tipping the knee toward the big toe was helpful to get the cross, great. But now bring the knee back over the toes. Hollow the low belly slightly away from your right thigh. Twist the torso to the right. Take your head back. Lift your heart and twist the center of the heart toward your thumbs. Breathe. In fact, make sure you can breathe here, even though the breath will be restricted. Feel into the breath. And then inhale, unwrap, touch the ground, and change sides. So you could lift the back knee, step forward, you could come back into downward facing dog, or you can just simply stay on your hands and knees and come to the second side. So here, left foot forward, slide the right knee back. Bring your hands to your front knee. Breathe. Notice the response to what's coming now that you know. And then tip the left knee in, keeping the left sitting bone still in line with the left heel. Stretch just the right arm up, lean back a little bit, make as much length through the front of the torso as possible. And now as you exhale, hook the right arm over the left thigh. Bring the knee back to center. Hollow the low belly. Pushing your arm, your right arm, and your left leg against each other. Bring your hands together. Descend the shoulder blades. And now, pushing your hands together, twist the center of the heart. To the left, take the head back. Turn the head some amount to the left. Inhale, unwrap. Simply come to the hands and knees. And place the hands under the shoulders. Place the knees under the hips. And now with the arms straight, descend the shoulder blades away from the ears. Bring your chest more or less over the thumbs. Scoop up the low belly so your tailbone tilts slightly toward the backs of the knees. And now keeping the arms straight, just sink the center of your chest down toward your thumbs. So you'll feel the spine between the shoulder blades descend toward the front of the body. And then lift the back of the heart up toward the ceiling. Feel the spine move into the wider space between the shoulder blades. Keeping the shoulder blades away from the ears, now sink the center of the heart toward the thumbs. Feel the spine dive deep in between the shoulder blades. And then as the shoulder blades move apart, lift the back of the heart up toward the sky. We'll do this a few more times. Sink the heart down. Lift back up. Last one. So now we're going to do a couple of arm strengthening exercises. So the first one is from the hands and knees, you're going to bend the elbows to the side. And without letting the shoulders lift toward the ears, you're going to dive the chest toward the thumbs. So you're not going to touch the ground because you're going to press yourself back up. And it doesn't matter how low you go. It really is about being present and meeting the challenge of the work. Noticing the way that we're meeting the challenge and bringing as much presence to that process as possible. So take the hands a little wider apart. Turn the hands slightly to the sides and descend the shoulder blades. And then lift up the low belly and again tilt the tailbone toward the backs of the knees. Now bending the elbows to the side, bring your chest over your thumbs and then sink, bending the elbows to the side, drop the chest toward the thumbs, push back up. Elbows to the side, drop down, push back up. We'll do 3 more. So move at your pace. And again, just pay attention so you're coming forward and then bringing the chest down and back up. Feel the work in the arms. And then last one. And then push back up. Pause. We're going to do one more here, and it's really the same thing, except now we're asking the elbows to bend back toward the baby toes. As opposed to the sides, they're coming back. And we're wanting to use the upper back muscles rather than the muscles in the front of the chest. And that requires slow movement and attention to the upper back. So again, it doesn't matter how far down you go. It matters that we're bringing this presence to the practice. And we're moving toward the experience as opposed to away from it. So tilt the tailbone toward the backs of the knees so that the low belly lifts. Move the shoulders forward so that the center of the chest is more or less in line with the thumbs. Shoulder blades away from the ears. Now bend the elbows back toward the baby toes, not tight to the body, slightly out. And lower the chest toward the thumbs. Push back up. Again, elbows back, chest down, push back up. So you're going to do a couple more times like this. Hug the belly in, lower the chest, push back up. Notice the arms. Make sure they're working evenly and equally. One more time. Oh, and now, moving the blanket to the side, come all the way down onto your stomach. Take a breath or two here. You could stack your hands and rest your forehead on your hands. That's a good idea because that's what we're going to work with next. So that'll move you into the appropriate position. But if that doesn't work for your shoulders, then you'll place your hands in whatever, arms in whatever comfortable position you can find. Bring your attention to your body. Notice the body's response to the practice. Notice the breath. And as best you can, even out the breath. So we're going to do a little bit of work in Shalabhasana, locust pose. So if your head is turned to one side, bring your forehead or chin to the ground if you're not resting your forehead on your hands. If you're resting, if your hands are stacked, put your right hand on top of your left. Rest your forehead on your right hand. And then extend the legs straight back behind you, just a few inches apart. So we're going to lift the head and chest and the right arm. So the right arm and the forehead stay together in contact. And then you're going to lift the left leg. So, and we're going to come up and down with the breath. So peel up the low belly, away from the ground. Engage the muscles of the buttocks. And then keeping the forehead and the back of the right hand together, lift the head, chest, the right arm, and the left leg. Come back down. We'll do that 4 more times. So when you're ready, lift up and down. You can lift the head as you come up, but you keep the hand and the head together. Two more. Keep the left hip down. Last one. So once you're down, change the hands. So now your left hand is stacked over your right and your forehead's resting on the back of your left hand. And then we'll do the same movement, opposite side. So left arm, head, chest, right leg, forehead and arms stay together. So low belly in, buttocks firm. And then when you're ready, come up. Hold for a moment and then back down. Link the movement to the breath. So that one half of the breath brings you up and the other half of the breath takes you down. 5 in total, so for me it's 2 more. Last one. And then down. Pause for a moment, bring your chin to the ground. Take your arms by your sides. So this time we're going to lift the head, chest, the arms, and both legs. If lifting both legs doesn't work for your lower back, just lift the head, chest, and the hands, arms. So legs extending straight back behind you. Scoop up the low belly. Firm the buttocks. Descend the shoulder blades. Lift the tops of the upper arms away from the ground. And then when you're ready, up you come. As you lift up, peel the chest back away from the ground. Lift the tops of the thighs. Lift the chin. Look up some amount. And then exhale all the way back down. Prop yourself up on your elbows. Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx, Place the elbows under the shoulders, shoulder distance apart. And take your hands out wider so your forearms form a V shape with the elbows at the point of the V. If this is too much for your back, walk your elbows out away from you more. Then, scoop up the low belly lightly and engage the muscles of the buttocks. With the legs extending straight back behind you, drop the shoulder blades strongly away from the ears. With the shoulder blades dropping, feel the muscles in the upper back engage. So, at the beginning of the practice, when we interlaced the hands behind the back, we felt the shoulder blades move toward the spine and press into the same feeling here. So, to help with that, drag your elbows toward your feet. Bring the shoulder blades slightly toward the spine. Push them forward while keeping the shoulder blades away from the ears. So feel a strong action in the upper back. You can stay here, or you could push into your hands now and stretch the arms straighter. As you stretch the arms straighter, keep the pubic bone on the ground. Drag the hands toward the feet. Curl the center of the heart up. Maybe walk your hands a little bit closer to you if you don't have enough sensation, or further away from the body if it's too much pressure in the back. One more breath. If you come up, lower the elbows. And then everybody take the elbows to the side, come down. Rest for a moment, turning your head to one side for a few breaths. And then turn your head to the other side. So now we're going to do cobra pose, like we ended up with from Sphinx, but this time we're going to do it with a bent arm position. So bring your chin back to the ground or your forehead. Place your hands under your shoulders, so the fingertips are just at the line of the shoulders. And turn your hands slightly out to the sides. Scoop up the low belly. Lightly press the pubic bone to the ground and firm the muscles of the buttocks. Stretch back through your legs. Now come back up to your hands and pull your hands toward your feet. As you pull your hands toward your feet, bring your shoulder blades away from the ears and squeeze them slightly toward the spine. Then inhale, curl the head and shoulders up. Again, drag the hands toward the feet. So I don't have much weight in the hands yet. So I'm just lightly pressing into the hands and I'm pulling the hands toward the feet to feel the upper back engage. And then I push into the hands and come up a little bit more, keeping the shoulder blades away from the ears. Drag the center of the heart forward, take the head back. Descend the shoulder blades, pull the hands toward the feet. Maybe look up. And then exhale slowly, come all the way down. Release the arms, turn your head to the other side first. Change the turn of the head. And then from here, downward facing dog. So bring your forehead or your chin to the ground. And if you're not weight bearing on your hands, then you could just stay here. Tuck the toes under. Press up onto your hands and knees. And then Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Look at your hands and just make sure your hands are shoulder distance apart. Press into the knuckles at the base of your index fingers. elbows. Rotate the triceps toward the head, just like we did at the beginning of the practice. And then strongly pull your hips back away from your hands. Keeping the shoulder blades descending well. Away from the ears for the moment. And the upper arms rotating toward the head. Press the shoulder blades into the upper back. And reach the center of the heart toward the chin. Now, let the shoulder blades lift toward the ears as you pull the hips back away from the wrists. Press the tops of the thigh bones back. Descend the heels. Inhale. Exhale. Drop your knees to the ground and just turn and sit with your legs straight out in front of you. So we're going to do Navasana, boat pose. I often sequence the abdominal work before the back bends. And today we're going to do it after, just so we have the reminder of the strength of the back muscles that are needed to support this pose. So bend your knees, place your feet in front of you. With your hands, turn your thighs in. Grab the backs of your legs with your hands. And now create more of a back bend shape. So curve the lower back, lift the chest, descend the shoulder blades, and free the head. So your head can easily shift around on the neck, top of the neck. And then come up on your toes, walk in a little bit so you lean back slightly and bring your shins up parallel to the ground. If you know stretching the legs straight right away is appropriate for you, you can do that. Now with your hands, turn your thighs in, lift the entire spine up away from the ground so that you feel the lift and the width across the front of the chest. Again, release the head, descend the shoulder blades, soften the jaw, breathe. One more breath. And then place the feet down on the ground. We're going to repeat that with no hands. So again, if you want to do this with the legs straight, feel free. Otherwise, keep the knees bent. So hold the backs of the thighs with the hands. Turn the thighs, so you pull the inner thighs slightly apart and push the legs into the hands. Now, lift the entire spine up into the body away from the ground. So your torso feels more like in a back bend than a forward bend. And then bring the shins up parallel to the ground. Lift the front of the torso, descend the shoulder blades, release the head. It's good to just move the head around in any way that rotates it on the neck. Keep the whole spine in. And now, stilling the head, release the arms to the side. And then pull slightly back from your fingertips into the shoulder sockets. Lift the chest. And then exhale, feet on the ground. So take your blanket and fold it up so that you can sit on it. And this is, we're going to do a seated twist or two. And the height under the hips gives us that lift in the torso, because we want to have the same feeling that we just had in boat pose. Navasana when we're doing the seated. So extending the legs straight, turn the thighs in with your hands, and make sure that the lower back spine is moving in and up. So you're not rounding onto the back of the sitting bones and pressing the lower back back toward the wall behind you. Then, stretching the left leg straight, then the right leg, bringing the right heel in toward the right hip. So we're going to do this twist, Marichasana 3, in a couple of ways. I think I'm going to turn so if you can see me. So I'll explain it as best I can. So your right sitting bone now is lined up with. Take your right hand several inches, like about a foot behind you, and bend the elbow. So you're leaning back on the hand, and you've got quite a distance between your right thigh and your torso. Now, from this position, arch the spine up away from the floor. Twist the torso to the right. So now the torso is already in the pose, the leg's in the pose, and all we have to do is bring the torso and the leg closer together. So now sliding the left hand on the outside of the right knee, stretch your right arm straight, and then keeping everything that you established in the torso, bring your torso more upright and twist the torso to the right. Press your right leg against your left arm. Descend both shoulder blades. Curve the whole spine into the body and twist the torso and the head to the right. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, stretch the right leg. So I hope that this is making sense. So you're going to now have the right leg extended and then bend the left knee in so that the left heel is coming close to the left sitting bone. Doesn't have to be super close, but it's, as much as your knee is allowing. And then take your left hand a good step back away from the body, but it's still in line with the left hip. Then lean back onto that hand and bend the elbow straight back. So your torso is laying back, it's like you're on a beach chair. Now arch the spine, so the spine moves up into the body, and then twist the torso to the left. Notice the length and the width across the front of the torso, and the way that the low belly is sitting back. Take your right hand across your left knee, your right arm, and now you're pushing the back arm straight, and without changing anything else, bringing the torso more upright. Perhaps walk the left hand closer to your hip, bend the right arm, and then descending the shoulder blades, lift the torso up and twist the torso very strongly to the left. Turn the head to the left. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, stretch that leg straight. Come back to the first side. We'll repeat this a second time. So with the left leg straight, bend the right leg. So this time we'll do more of the classic entry. So with the right hand, hold your right thigh near the knee and tip it in, just like we did in the low lunge at the low lunge twist earlier in the practice. Keeping the left leg straight, stretch the left arm up alongside the left ear. Now, lean back just a little bit to peel the low belly back and to activate the muscles alongside the spine. So you've got that sense of arching the spine into the body, twist, and now bring your left arm as much as possible across your right thigh. Your right knee is tilted in, keep that. Put your right hand behind you, fingers pointing away. Now, keeping the twist, bring your right knee upright. Push your left arm and your right leg against each other. Descend the shoulder blades. Roll the right shoulder back. Twist the heart to the right. Turn your head to the right. Breathe. For many of us, not everybody, but many people, the constriction of the twists invites the breath to move into unfamiliar territory. And it can feel like we can't get a good breath, and it can feel quite challenging.
can set up conditions of adversity which we meet. And we pay attention to how we meet those. And that attunement to our tendencies is the part of the gift of the practice. And then bringing the head back to center, release the twist, take a breath, and stretch the legs straight. Change sides, so I'm just swiveling around so I face the video. So now you're gonna stretch the right leg straight, bend the left leg in. Left heel to left sitting bone. Right leg straight. And now holding the left thigh with the left hand, tip it in. Lean back a little bit just to hollow the low belly away from the leg and lift the torso up so you get that same kind of sense as when you were leaning back on your arm with the elbow bent. Stretch the right arm up. Now come forward toward your thigh, cross over. So you've tipped the knee in as much as possible to get a bit more of a cross. Take the left hand behind you. Twist the torso to the left. Now bring the left knee up, right, pushing the knee and the arm, the left knee, the right arm against each other. Drop the shoulder blades. Lift the chest up. As best you can, move every vertebrae of the torso, every vertebrae of the spine into the body. Turn the head. Breathe. And notice where the breath goes. Notice the way that you meet the constriction. And the understanding of our tendencies is what's necessary to create any change, if that's needed or desired. And it brings us toward a deeper understanding of who we are. And from that place of understanding and the presence that this brings, we can make choices. And not automatically react to situations. Inhale, back to center. Uncross, take a breath. Stretch the legs straight. So we're gonna do something cross-legged. So either you could do a seated cross-legged forward bend, or you could lie on your back, supporting the head with the blanket, and do the number 4 position with the right ankle on the left thigh. So your choice. The seated cross-legged, if you have the capacity to do both and you're uncertain of which to do, then choose the seated cross-legged forward bend. If that's not useful for your knees, then you're going to cross the right ankle on the left thigh. And either just simply press the right knee away from you with or without using your right hand, or maybe lift the left leg in and catch the back of the left thigh. If you're seated, right knee, bring the right shin in front of the left. Squeeze the knees toward each other, walking the feet apart. So the knees are not that much wider than the outer hips, and you're in a more kind of contained shape. Support the buttocks if the knees are high, higher than the navel. And then bring your fingertips in front. And keeping the buttocks heavy and just a slight hollowing of the low belly, walk the hands forward some amount. Here we want to let the spine move into more of a rounded shape. So instead of moving the spine toward the body, feel the spine move just a little bit against the skin of the back. And feel, more importantly,
width across the entire back plane of the torso. So that from the spine to the sides of the body, there's a sense of a gentle half circle width. Lightly drop the chin toward the chest if you're in the seated position. And for some bodies, this flexibility-oriented pose creates more of the experience of adversity, more of the challenge, than some of the strengthening work of the rest of the practice. So just notice that. Notice where the challenge lies, recognizing again that the Hatha Yoga practice was intended to be demanding, and as a consequence creates the environment for us to notice how we meet adversity, and to use that as a way to wake up to ourselves, to our tendencies, and ultimately what is beyond our tendencies at our core. Walk the hands back in, come up. If you're lying on your back, release your hand, left foot on the ground. Uncross the legs and then change the cross. So on your back, you're crossing your left ankle on your right thigh, pressing the left knee away from you, and maybe right knee toward the chest. Seated now, left shin is inside the right. Knees a little together, feet a little wider apart. If your outer ankles are uncomfortable against the floor, flexing your feet and being a bit more on the sharp outer edges of the feet will be helpful. And then hands in front of you, keeping the buttocks heavy so that the buttocks pulls length into the lower back. Walk the hands more forward. Fold some amount forward. Releasing the shoulder blades, drop the chin a little bit toward the chest. Feel your body meeting the shape. The shape molding into your unique body presentation today. Notice the breath. And with the degree of control that we have over the breath, invite the breath to move toward a longer, softer, more even and fluid rhythm. This pose is guiding us into Shavasana, so we want to be building that, the ease of the final relaxation here. Couple more breaths. And then walking the hands back in, come up, and then lie on your back for the final relaxation. Take any support you need from behind the knees. Perhaps fold your blanket behind your head. Cover up.
As you lie down, take the feet out as wide as the size of the torso. Take your arms to the sides of the body, rotating the arms so that the palms face up, or bend the elbows and place the palms down on the torso. Close your eyes. Release your body into the gravitational pull of the earth. Invite the body to release into stillness. Notice your response to the body moving into stillness. Relaxing the face, especially the jaw and the eyes. Tune into the movement of the breath. And practice being present to the moment-to-moment experience via concentration on the breath. And then become conscious that you are able to be aware of your body, your breath, and your thoughts. And that awareness of you is always present at your center. And to know that. Gently deepen your breath. And with the next deeper breath in, bend the knees, place the feet on the ground. And then supporting the head with the right arm as needed. Roll all the way to your right side. And then push down with your hand and bring yourself up. Come to sit. With your eyes closed, join your hands together at your heart. May our practice on the mat cultivate our capacity to be present to any moment of adversity that we meet. May that presence be with us at each moment. We'll close the practice with one Om. Take a breath in. Thank you. Namaste.